There's a lot of talk about climate change around the world, and you may be wondering what on earth is climate change and why is it any of my concern? Well, if that is a question that is on your mind, or you simply want to know more about climate change, then you have come to the right place, because we are currently going through a new series titled Climate Change is Not My Problem, where we'll be unpacking all things climate change and addressing some of these questions. For Nature fam, and welcome to another video. Welcome to those of you who have just joined the fam. It's so good to have you all here. So we are currently going through a brand new series titled Climate Change is Not My Problem, and I am excited for this topic. Please let me know down below in the comment section what you think of this series so far and if you're enjoying it. Before we get into this week's video, I would like to just remind you that iRoot4Nature is also available on TikTok and Instagram. So please head over there and follow me on those platforms if you haven't already, for more shorter and cool videos on the various topics that we discuss here on YouTube, which I upload every week. That way we always stay engaged and you never miss out on anything. In the last video, we started to unpack what climate change is and why we need to do something about it. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I would suggest that you pause this video and go and watch that one first before you continue with this current one, so that you don't miss out on any bits of this series. I'll link it up here for you. In this video, we are going to be continuing from where we left off in the last video. So now we know what climate change is, but the next question is what actually causes it. So far we have discussed that although the climate changes over time, we are currently facing human-induced climate change, which is accelerating the rate at which the natural process of climate change would ordinarily take. So what are some of these human activities that are causing climate change? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Climate change is an issue that affects us all, but it's often very easy for all of us to feel detached from its causes and effects. So here are 5 major causes of climate change. Number 1, the burning of fossil fuels. So fossil fuels are natural fuels such as coal, oil, and gas formed in the geological past from the remains of living organisms. They are made from hydrocarbon, and thus they have a high carbon content. They are also not renewable energy sources, which means they are finite. They cannot readily be replaced with natural processes at the rate at which they are being consumed. So due to the high carbon content of these minerals, the burning of coal, for example, is one of the largest sources of greenhouse gas emissions in the world, primarily in the form of carbon dioxide and methane, both of which trap heat in the atmosphere, thereby contributing to global warming. The second cause is deforestation. So forests serve as carbon sinks because trees actually absorb carbon dioxide. So when we cut down forests or destroy forests for logging or agricultural purposes or other developmental purposes, the amount of carbon dioxide that can be removed from the atmosphere decreases, which then exacerbates climate change. Another cause is industrial processes. Many industrial activities, including the production of cement, steel, and aluminium, as well as certain chemical reactions, release a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere, which inevitably causes climate change. The fourth cause is agriculture. Certain farming practices can contribute to climate change. For example, rice production releases methane, and the excessive use of manure and synthetic fertilizers releases nitrous oxide, which is bad for the atmosphere. Number 5, waste disposal. Landfills are significant sources of methane emissions. The incineration of waste materials can also release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So when we are not careful of how we dispose of our waste materials, we inevitably contribute towards climate change. I would like to point out that this is not an exhaustive list. I just picked out 5 major ones, but as we proceed with this series, we're going to get into more detail about the causes of climate change, and you're going to see that there is more and more factors that actually contribute to this. The point I was trying to get at in showing some of these causes is to show how human beings actually largely contribute to climate change due to the activities that they engage in. For example, farming, it doesn't do it on its own. Fossil fuels don't burn themselves. Someone is behind that burning, and they're burning them for a particular reason. So whether you are the one who's doing the burning or you're benefiting from the burning, you are part of the entire value chain of that. So sometimes we may feel like these causes of climate change have nothing to do with us, but we do contribute to it in several ways. So for example, fossil fuels being burnt to produce electricity so that we can light up our homes and have heating, and us also not being conscious of our energy consumption habits, which results in wastefulness and the need to produce more energy, meaning more fossil fuels being burnt, and thus more greenhouse gas emissions being emitted into the atmosphere. And the cycle goes on and on and on, but you are also part of that cycle, whether or not you're directly involved in the burning of those fossil fuels. So it is important for us to understand that we are still part of this whole value chain. Climate change is a global issue that impacts every single person, no matter how remote or unrelated the causes may seem to our daily lives. So we need to start connecting some of these dots to say, yeah, I might not be the one burning the coal, for example, but the coal is being burned and I'm benefiting to it. So as a result of that, I am low-key contributing to some of these problems that we are facing, and what can I do about it as an individual. And as we proceed with this series, we're going to be discussing some of the things that as individuals you can also start to do to reduce your own carbon footprint as we work towards mitigating and adapting to climate change and increasing our resilience as a nation. So even if you feel that climate change is not your problem, it's important for you to still understand and remember that our collective actions contribute to these causes. Each of us, we all play a role in mitigating climate change by reducing our carbon footprints, making more sustainable choices, and advocating for policies that address these key causes of climate change, and so much more. Speaking of policies, it is an interesting time in the legal space in South Africa as the Parliament has approved the climate change bill and it has been sent to the President for signature. It looks like South Africa will have its first ever Climate Change Act soon, and that is an exciting legal development to be on the lookout for, as it does have some implications on various sectors and how we'll be doing things going forward in light of the climate crisis. So please stay tuned to further updates on this development, and also don't forget that we will be delving deeper on what you can do to contribute to finding solutions about climate change and mitigate and adapt to climate impacts as we progress with our current series. Climate change is not my problem. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, this is the time for you to subscribe. So please do hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell on the right so that you're notified every single time I upload the video, and you will not miss out on a single thing on this brand new series that we are currently doing. Until the next time, stay true, keep fighting, and keep the earth clean.